Your testimony, am I correct? Your belief is there was more than three, but you saw definite punches to Wills' face, correct?
Yes.
And were those close fist punches?
I believe so, yes.
And you have mentioned a few times that Relly is a very strong individual, correct?
Yes.
And can you describe, if you can, the force that any of those punches were delivered with?
I cannot describe the force, no.
Well, in watching it, did it appear that it was a strong punch, or did it just look like he wasn't really doing much?
Well, I know he was swinging at him, and Ills wasn't swinging back, so I understand it to be enough force to hurt somebody.
Right, and you said not only did you understand it to be enough force, but that Ilk was bleeding, correct?
He was bleeding from his lip, yes.
And did you see any other injuries to his face?
His face wasn't like broken or swollen or anything, not to my recollection.
Well, so he's punched 3 times in the face, is that correct?
Yes.
And you're saying the only injury that very muscular Relly gave to him was a cut on his lip, is that right?
The only injury that I could see was his lip. I'm not too sure about anything else.
Do you know, are you aware of Gil seeking medical treatment?
No, I'm not too sure, no.
Do you know if, as a result of being beaten like this, if Gills was able to stay with you guys to continue what you were doing activities in Los Angeles?
Yes,
In fact, would you agree that the next day, less than 24 hours after this incident, you guys were all at Complex Con, is that right?
yes,
And Ills was there too, is that right?
yes.
I want to show you a video that we're gonna mark people's next in order. 44 would be the DVD, Your Honor. I want you to watch this video first, please, and I'm gonna ask some questions about it if you don't mind.
No problem.
I'm gonna freeze it.
This is just to show bills the next day.
Yeah, correct.
It's relevant for that issue.
I want to just at the beginning, can you tell me who is that on the right?
On,
The woman?
that's not,
Okay, do you recognize the individual on her right?
nah, I don't know.
Do you recognize the person on to the left of you?
No,
Now, you can't see the person in full view yet, but the person on the left, you're gonna see them wearing a flag. Do you know who was wearing a flag on the night of November 7th?
not that I remember, but that's like a part of our staff.
So here's my question. Do you remember what Ills was wearing on November 7th?
I'm pretty sure he was wearing something similar to what we all wearing, or like all black people.
Let's play the video. I want you to look at the individual on the left. Stop, pause. Who's that?
He's that ill.
And I want you to watch it again. And I want you to tell me where you see any injury to him anywhere on his face.
I would object because it was focused.
That's- Do you see an injury to his face?
To be honest, I can't clearly see his whole face.
Well, let me ask you something. Would you agree that you can see in this image right now, his lips are, you can see them, correct?
Yeah,
Didn't you just testify that he was bleeding from a cut lip?
I say he's bleeding from the lip, so I'm not too sure if it was bottom, the inside, his tooth, I'm not too sure how it.
So do you see any injury to his lips at all?
To be honest, if you really looking, his lip and his sides, it looks swollen.
Wait, didn't you just say a moment ago, when you were testifying, that Ills didn't have any swelling on his face?
I'm looking now, I've never seen this video.
Wait a minute. I asked you previously what kind of injuries he had. Your comment 3 minutes ago was, well, his face wasn't swollen. Now you're saying, no, I'm looking at his lips and they look swollen.
I said his face wasn't swollen, I didn't say anything about his lips.
Oh, let me just ask something. In your definition, are the lips a part of the face?
Yes,
So when you said that his face wasn't swollen, wouldn't that include the lips?
no, because I would be more detailed in saying his face or his lips.
Isn't it true that when you testified earlier, you didn't realize that we might have a video of what Ill's condition was that night, correct?
I wasn't sure.
Objection argument.
Sustain.
And that man's strict.
You're talking about something different. The testimony was, the night before, when the incident happened, the witness didn't see that Dills had any swelling on his face. This is now the next day, right?
Let me ask you, are you aware, Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
You said he didn't seek any medical treatment that you're aware of, is that right?
That I'm aware of, yes.
Are you able, when you look at the photograph, does this look to you like somebody who has been punched 3 times in the face by an extremely muscular man with a closed fist the night before?
He has a full American flag over his head. I'm not too sure what's going on inside of his face.
So just from what you can see, sir, can you please answer the question I've asked? Let me ask it again for does that look to you like an individual who has been punched 3 times in the face with a closed fist by an extremely strong and muscular man less than 24 hours before this image is taken?
Well, my only objection would be the term closed fist, the witness said he wasn't sure.
You know, that's a speak objection.
Actually, closed fist, there's no such thing as an open fist. A fist is a fist. There's no such thing as a closed. A closed fist is a fist. If it's not closed, it's not a fist.
Well, then my question would still be easy to understand, Your Honor. There's no issue.
Read the question back.
Your Honor, fist could be not all the way closed, but a fist, closed fist, and that's what I asked.
Show
So
me an open fist.
an open fist would be like this, not closed. Can the question be read back, Your Honor?
Yeah, I'm asking for that.
Let me ask it again for you. Does that look to you like an individual who has been punched 3 times in the face with a closed fist by an extremely strong and muscular man less than 24 hours before this image is taken?
What the objection is, just state the legal objection.
It states the test.
It's a question, Your Honor.
The other, my objection was to the term closed fist, he said he didn't know if it was closed or not.
I'll re-ask the question without the word closed.
Yeah, ask him if,
Judge, I'll withdraw the objection, just.
if he
let's get
saw,
out here.
if he saw the punch, was it with a fist or an open?
And I asked that. He said he believed it was with a closed fist.
I'm not too sure.
All right, then,
Wait a minute. Didn't you previously state when I asked you that you believed it was with a fist or closed fist?
I know he hit him with his hand. I can't tell you the positioning.
That's not what it's not what I asked you. This is my question. Previously, when I asked you the question, I said, was it, in essence, an open or a closed fist? And you said you believed it was a closed fist, correct?
I wouldn't believe he was just smacking on him. I believe he was punching.
Okay, so you're saying you believe it was a closed fist, so here's my question. Do you believe that that photo appears to be consistent with someone who has been punched 3 times with a fist by a large and strong individual less than 24 hours before the image was taken?
Yes, I believe that.
And can you please explain, what is it about that photo that leads you to believe that there is evidence demonstrating that the person was punched 3 times in the
there should be
face?
a pointer. So,
I can't really see his whole face. As we all can see, he has an American flag, which is pretty large, on his head. So we can't see his ears, we can't see the side of his face. This is all we see. And we don't even see much of his lip. So
Let's watch a little more. I'm gonna keep stopping it. With what you see now, stop it please. Do you see any evidence in that video that you watched so far to support that he was punched 3 times in the face with a fist by a strong individual?
well, I see he has a flag, but I see he's trying to hide something.
Wait, so you're saying you think he's wearing the flag because he's trying to hide something?
That yes, he could be hiding the bruise. We're at a show, so who wants to walk around a 10-year anniversary show with bruises?
Wait, you previously stated before that everybody was dressed in the style. Isn't that flag his style? Isn't that what he's doing with the flag?
So, Live Love ASAP, on the back of the project, there's an American flag, right? So this was a part of the project, you feel me? That's why he had it. So usually Rocky wears it to come out because he's the main artist. That's his whole look, you feel me? But that day, I believe, because Dills got into an altercation, he was hiding inside his.
Just so you understand, whether I feel you or not, I can't respond to your comments, when you're answering a question, when you're repeatedly saying, you feel me, you understand that I can't respond to that.
I won't say you feel me.
Okay. So let's keep watching video, and what I want you to do is, I want you to yell stop when you see any evidence that he has the kind of injuries on his face that you would expect when someone's been punched 3 times in the face by a muscular, strong individual.
You cannot see his whole face, sir.
So listen to my question. I didn't ask you if there were parts of the back of his head or his ears you can't see. I asked you, was there anything on that video that you just saw that demonstrates, you know what, yes, that's where you can see he appears to have been punched in the face. Anything?
No.
All right, let's go to a different area here. One moment. I want to talk about your relationship with Relly.
Yes.
Would you agree that although you've known Relly a long time, you are much closer to the defendant than you are to Relly?
As of now, yes.
Wouldn't you agree, though, that always, for at least a long period of time, let's say the last 10 years, you've been much closer to the defendant than you have to Relly, is that right?
Yes.
In fact, you were asked on direct examination about your relationship, and what you said was, we had a good relationship in the early years. Do you recall that comment?
Yes.
Would you agree that in making that comment, it appears that you were saying that if you're qualifying that you had a good relationship with him in the early years, that means that in the later years, your relationship was not as good? Would you agree?
No, I'm not saying that.
So why did you qualify the statement? You're asked by Mr. Capapino,
Yes.
what was your relationship like? And you say, on your own, we had a good relationship in the early years. Why did you answer that question by talking about the early years?
Oh, because earlier in my career, I was in the city more. So whether it was Bronx or Harlem, I could see him more back then. That was the only reason I said that.
Then you also add that you got much closer to the defendant because, quote, I didn't have time to deal with Relly. Do you remember saying that?
It's not like dealing with him like he was an issue. It was I didn't have time to hang out with him.
Wait, when you were on direct, did you say you didn't have time to hang out with Relly? Did you say I didn't have time to deal with him?
I didn't have time to spend with Remy. I was busy.
That's not what I asked you. What I asked you was, who used the word deal?
If I did, I used the word deal.
Okay, so what you're telling me is now you're saying, when I said I didn't have time to deal with Relly, what I really meant was I didn't have time to spend with him.
I'm clearly stating I didn't have time to hang out with Remy before because I'm on tour. I'm in studio sessions that aren't in New York. I'm out the country. I'm in Asia. I'm in different places. I didn't have time to spend with him.
And when referring to the tour, that's the tour with the defendant, correct?
Not just him. I went on my own tours as well.
You ever go on tour with Relly?
No, I never went on tour with Remy. He's not a musician.
So you did go on tour with the defendant, correct?
Yes.
So some of the times you're referring that you were on tour and you didn't have time to either deal with Relly or spend with Relly was when you were on tour with the defendant, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree that he is the guy that gave you your big break, the defendant, correct?
No,
You would not agree with that.
I would not agree.
All right, let's talk about your arrival in Los Angeles. You don't live in California, right?
No.
That was double that's my fault. You live outside the state, correct?
Yes.
And I don't want you to tell me where, but specifically, but is it in New York?
Yes.
When did you come out here for the trial?
I guess Saturday.
Saturday? And where have you been staying?
Downtown 11.
Have you had any contact with the defendants since you've been out here?
No.
Nothing?
No.
You guys are friends, you're coming out here, why didn't you have any contact with them?
A few years back, I was advised by my attorney, and I'm pretty sure he was advised by his attorney to not speak about what was going on as far as the case. So it wasn't no reason to be involved.
You said a few years back, when was this?
This was, I think, spring or summer of 2022.
Okay. So you came out here, by the way, who paid for you to come out here?
I believe ASAP Blue.
I'm sorry, who?
ASAP. The ASAP, the business.
Well, the ASAP business is funded in a large part by ASAP Rocky, is that correct?
That's not true.
Oh, so when you say ASAP Blue, I'm sorry, I gotta apologize, Mr. Phillips, my hearing
It's okay, sir.
is not good.
It's all good.
So, okay, so it was ASAP Lou.
Yes.
Now, Lou is Rocky's manager, right?
Well, at the moment, I'm not too sure, but before he was the manager, yes.
Are you aware that it's been represented that Lou is his store manager?
Yes, but Rocky hasn't been touring.
Well, so here's my question. Do you think that Lou would have paid for you coming out here out of his own pocket, or would that have been your understanding paid for by Rocky?
I'm not sure. I have no answer to that. I'm not too sure.
Did you take the bus out here, or did you fly?
I flew.
Business or first class?
It was regular. Like, it was a regular flight.
What, they had you fly coach?
Coach, it was just a flight.
Sustain.
Just a flight.
Sustain.
I said,
You don't have to answer. You check it. Sustain.
And when did you arrive?
Saturday,
And where you stand right now?
downtown at a hotel.
And is, I don't want you to give me the name, but it's a nice hotel, I assume?
It's a cool hotel.
And
It's downtown LA. You know the area downtown LA is crazy.
yeah, unfortunately, I can't answer your
You
question.
understand?
What was that?
You understand?
We all do.
So, the hotel you're staying at, nice hotel, it's not gonna be cheap, correct?
Yes, sir.
And I would assume, you're not eating at McDonald's while you're here, right?
I'm actually at the taco stand up the block from my hotel. $2 tacos.
That's, do they limit your food budget while you were here?
No, I'm paying for my own food.
So, they're paying for your hotel, they're paying for your flight, but they're not covering your food?
I actually put my card on my room.
So you put your card in your room, but the idea is they're gonna reimburse you, correct?
I'm not too sure. That was never a conversation. That's not something I'm worried about.
So you're close enough to Rocky that you don't really care whether you're reimbursed. You're gonna come out here, stay at your own expense, and try to help him on this case. Is that correct?
No, I'm not trying to help him on the case. I was actually there and I know the truth.
Well, no, that's my question. You're saying you don't really care about getting reimbursed. You're coming out here, that hotel's not cheap, you're saying, I'll put it on my card. And you're saying, I don't really care about what it's gonna cost.
Okay.
So my question to you is, if you don't care about what it's gonna cost, is that because he's such a close friend of yours?
No, because I also have a manager out here and I had meetings out here that I had to attend to. So it's not like I'm here on his dime. I also am an artist that has things to take care of myself.
Wait, Ms. Phillips, are you suggesting to us that basically the purpose for you coming out here is to do meetings for your career, and then it just so happens that you'll testify in his criminal trial?
I was never given a specified date when I was supposed to be here.
Well, how did they arrange for you to come to court?
I just found out, I found out yesterday.
So you're saying the first time you knew that you were gonna come to court was yesterday?
No, I found out that I was coming to court when we got on the speakerphone with the judge.
And then, and at that point in time, shortly after you flew out here, right?
Probably like a week or so later.
And you've been out here basically waiting to testify, is that right?
I also just been working on my artistry.
Okay, I'm not asking you how you managed to fill your time. I'm saying your purpose for being out here at this point in time is to testify in this criminal case, correct?
This is another check.
Can I have grounds for it?
Exactly what he asked. What he was doing.
I need a legal ground.
Oh,
That's an answer.
I'm not asking.
Overruled.
Can you rephrase the question?
Sure. So, my question to you is, I understand that you are spending time while you're out here doing other things. But would you agree that the purpose before you're coming out here was to testify in this trial.
As I said, I'm not too sure what day I was supposed to be here, but the judge told me when I spoke to him on the speakerphone, I have to be you're gonna have to testify or be a witness, and I guess you have to make yourself available. So I made sure I got to LA.
So, Phillips, if you can, I'm gonna try to ask this question again. I'm not asking what the judge told you. I'm asking you, do you agree that the primary reason that you are out here in Los Angeles is to testify for your friend, Mr. Neighbors?
It's one of the reasons why I'm in LA, yes.
Would you agree that it is the main reason that you are in Los Angeles?
It's a pretty important reason.
Isn't it true, Mr. Phillips, that the other things that you are doing here are just ways for you to utilize the time since you happen to have to be out here to testify in his case? Is that right?
No, because every time I come to LA, I have my own business to take care of.
Okay. You mentioned that you have knowledge and experience with prop guns, is that right?
Yes.
Do you have any knowledge and experience with real firearms?
No.
Have you ever shot a gun?
I'm ready.
A gun, okay. How many times?
Maybe 9 shots.
Oh, wait, let me just back up. Meaning, you only shot 9 rounds one time, or you've been to a range 9 times?
I've been to one gun range and only shot 9 times.
And
So
do
one clip.
you know the difference between a semi-automatic and a revolver?
Yes.
You understand that a revolver has a cylinder. Some people call them cowboy guns. They have a cylinder, and the rounds get put inside of the cylinder, and then they rotate when the shot's fired. Do you understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that the semi-automatic has a magazine, some people call it a clip. You aware of that?
Yes.
And the prop gun that you testified to, was that a semi-automatic or was it a revolver?
I don't think it was a revolver or semi-automatic. It looked like a handgun. It wasn't an actual semi-automatic.
Okay,
It was a prop.
so let me ask you, so in other words, did it look like what is supposed to be a revolver?
No,
Or did it look like what's supposed to be a semi-automatic with a magazine?
it looked like it was supposed to be a semi-automatic.
Now, you mentioned that you have fired a prop gun, is that right?
No, I never mentioned I fired a prop gun. I mentioned I handled them in my videos.
Oh, so in your videos, you didn't actually fire it?
No,
Is that, I said that. Did you fire the prop gun in your video?
no,
Did somebody else in your presence fire the prop gun in your video?
no. That wasn't the motive of the scene.
Okay, so the prop gun in your video, you never saw fire.
No,
Have you ever seen a prop gun fired other than what you're alleging occurred during this incident?
I did the work with much.
I guess just in movies and behind the scenes of movies and stuff. I'm a movie buff, so yes, I've seen them playing.
Do you think that you have the ability, by looking at a gun, to determine whether it is, for instance, a prop gun or instead a 9mm semi-automatic actual firearm?
Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah, so do you think by looking at it, seeing it, that you can tell the difference between a prop gun that's supposed to simulate like a 9mm firearm versus a real 9mm firearm? Do you think, can you tell the difference?
Well, I can't tell the difference, but in this situation,
Motion to strike,
Sustained. So the answer is no.
and you testified that there were 3 other incidents where you saw the defendant with a prop gun.
yes,
Is that correct? And you actually gave the dates of those, is that right?
yes.
And are you able to say whether that was the same prop gun as you alleged that he had on the night of November 6th?
Okay, yes, because in New York, when I seen him the weekend of the governor's ball show, he showed me the new clip that was modified so it could be secure on his waist. I seen that, and then that was the same exact device I seen in LA,
So by a clip, you're just talking about,
a belt clip.
yeah, belt clip. Let me ask you something. is there any reason why you couldn't have a belt clip that would hold a prop gun and use that belt clip to hold a real firearm?
No, to my understanding, a real firearm is heavier than a prop.
Well, if it's a clip, can you explain to me how a belt clip, which is put on your belt, how the weight of the firearm would prevent it from being holstered in that kind of clip?
Protection from this one.
Relevant?
Yes, I'm an expert, all the speculation.
Your Honor, he testified that it's the same gun, and I'm trying to explore why he thinks it's the same gun. I have to explore the area. I've got to cross him.
He says he has no experience with real guns,
Your Honor,
except that he fired.
No, but I'm asking about the prop gun, and I'm asking him, why is it that he believes it was a prop gun? Let me,
All right, I understand your point.
okay,
Go ahead.
let me ask you. So here's what I'm asking. You're telling me you saw him with a gun in New York. How long before this incident?
A prop gun in New York, that was probably about a month and a week, or a month or 2 weeks before we went to LA.
And you're saying that the reason you know that was the same prop gun that you're alleging he used on November 6th was because they were both in the same belt clip, correct?
Yes,
So my question to you is, how would you know that the same gun or prop gun or firearm was in his belt clip in New York 6 weeks before this incident, as was in his as was in his belt on the night that this occurred? How do you know it's the same thing?
can you rephrase that?
So what I'm asking Mr. Phillips is, all you can say is that, you know what, he had a gun, it looked like a semi-automatic, you testified, I don't know the difference between a prop gun and a semi-automatic, I can't tell. And you're saying in New York, he had one in his belt clip, and you're going, I know that's the same prop gun that he had on November 6th because it's in the same clip. And what I'm asking you is, how do you know that on November 6th, just by looking, that was the same prop gun?
I knew it was the same modifications from the prop gun that I seen in New York. And I knew it had been modified from the first time I seen it at the DMV video shoot. So I knew it had like a specific look.
Okay, so let's back up. How was it modified? What specific look?
It just had a belt clip and I think a clear clip as far as the magazine.
So are you aware, when you're talking about a magazine and you're talking about a belt clip, that could be used with certain other firearms?
Well, I'm not too sure, but I knew from my understanding, from being at the video shoot, seeing him again, being with him multiple times, I'm familiar that I believe it was the same one. I don't think he was just switching around props.
Well, when you say you don't think you should switch it around, you've already said you don't have any expertise in real firearms.
No, I don't.
You've shot a gun a total of 9 times in your life, 9 rounds on one occasion. So wouldn't you agree that you can't tell us anything about whether or not those were the same guns or not, other than they were in the same belt clip and they looked, by the magazine and the color, similar?
Well, aside from, this being my friend and having a conversation about it, he gave me like, oh, this is.
Motion to strike is not responsive. So what you're saying is that the only reason you can say it's the same gun is because he told you so.
He told me and I said it.
But by the way, what if he was lying?
Objection.
Sorry.
Do you know, Mr. Phillips?
Yes.
When someone tells you something, particularly in this situation, you don't have any independent information to demonstrate that it's the same gun, other than what you said, correct?
Correct. But he would have no reason to lie to me. So
He would. So you decided, Mr. Phillips, you decided that the defendant has no reason to lie to you, and so therefore, you're accepting whatever he says as the truth. Is that correct?
I'm not just accepting it as a truth. I can see with my own eyes.
You can see a gun that you have no experience identifying with, and that you have decided is the same gun because it's in a clip and has a similar looking magazine. Is that correct?
Rephrase that.
So you've decided that it's the same gun and that you believe him. You just said, I'm looking at it myself as well, because you looked at it and it looks the same to you. So you're saying, I looked at it, it looks the same, correct?
Yes.
But you're also saying, I don't know anything about guns.
Well, I don't. I just, from my recollection, I knew it to be the same device from the previous situation.
It's time to move on to another topic.
When you,
It's time to move on to another topic.
when you use the word prop gun and starter pistol, are you using those terms interchangeably?
I believe, prop gun is the section of it, and then a starter pistol is under the prop gun. Like, I guess it's like a certain kind of prop gun. A starter pistol is a certain kind of prop gun.
Okay, so when you spoke to the defense, did you tell them that Rocky carried a starter pistol prop for security measures? Are those
Yes.
your words?
Yes.
Do you actually know specifically how a prop gun works? How it's fired, what happens when it's fired?
No, I don't.
Now, you testified that Mr. Mayers carried the starter pistol for, quote, security measures. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you said in your statement, would you agree that the only thing that you mentioned about that was he was known to do after being the victim of violence and home invasion?
Judge, objection to your statement.
Your Honor, this,
Sustain, sustain.
Your Honor, this has been presented as his statement.
Objection statement.
Oh, boy. All right, right. That is a summary of his statement.
I'm gonna give this to you again, I want you to review it, and I want you to tell me if there is anything in this statement that is not in fact what you said to the defense. I want you to read it to yourself, do you understand?
You said that I did not say.
No, that you, yeah, correct, I want you to read this, this is being represented as what you said.
Objection.
A summary of what he said.
I'm sorry,
The
so,
summary says not word for word.
no, correct, there's no quotes, I want you to ask, I want you to read it, I want you to tell me, after you've read it, is there anything in there that is not a representation of what you said to them?
No, it's nothing negative.
So you're saying that's all correct of what you said, is that correct?
This is a summary, so I'm not too sure, like, I see it as, this is what I said, and it could be things that I said that they didn't put there, but this is just a summary, I'm not too sure.
So let me ask you again, so here's what I'm asking you, is there anything in here that is incorrect that you did not tell them?
No, no.
Objection.
So, so at this point, Mr. Phillips, you now said that this represents, everything in here is what you said. You said there might be things that are not in here that you said, but there's nothing in here that you've read about what you said that you did not in sum and substance say.
Can you rephrase that?
In
I
other words,
understand.
sure, what I'm asking you is, you've read these 12 lines.
Yes,
These 12 lines, you're saying, you know what, these might not be my exact words, but this is what I told him.
a summary, yes.
Yes. And you were saying, I might have told him some things that are not here, correct?
No,
So this is a complete, this is everything you told him?
pretty much I believe.
Well, let me ask you something. I want you to look and I want you to tell me where there's anything about any prior incidents with Rocky carrying a prop gun.
Objection, relevancy.
Sustain.
on relevance ground, Your Honor?
Correct. Whether he sees it or not is irrelevant.
Is there anything in these 12 lines that you said is a complete, as far as you know, version of what you said? Is there anything about any incidents that you testified to regarding Rocky and the prop guns?
A relevancy objection again.
What's the question?
Is there anything in these 12 lines that you've said is a complete, as far as you know, version of what you said? Is there anything about any incidents that you've testified to regarding Rocky and the prop guns?
Ask the question.
Okay, so what I'm asking you is, you testified on direct about 3 incidents with Rocky on the prop guns. Do you know that?
Yes.
You agree there's nothing in here about any specific incident, is that right?
Objection,
Well,
relevancy.
I don't see it.
Stop. What's, that's sustained? It's not relevant. That he doesn't see anything about the 3 incidents in it. It's not relevant that he doesn't see. Or that it's not in there.
You just testified that this is a complete version of what you told the defense. You just testified.
Did not say that.
It mistakes the other, that's not what he said.
So, Mr. Phillips,
Yes.
did you discuss with the defense in advance of you testifying these 3 incidents regarding Rocky possessing a prop gun?
See, in 2024, when we first had our meeting, maybe I could have said something about it, but I'm not too sure.
Well, so let me ask you something. You would agree that, as far as you know, the first time that you related the information about these prior incidents with the prop gun was not when you were on the stand today, correct? Meaning, you had already told the defense about these incidents with Rocky and the prop gun, correct?
I think so, I believe so, I'm not too sure.
Well, let me ask you, Mr. Phillips, would you agree that it would be really important if you're trying to explain the situation with the prop gun, that you would have communicated, hey, listen, I've seen Rocky 3 other times with a prop gun. Would you agree that would be important?
Yes,
So do you believe that you would have told the defense of that important information when they interviewed you?
I'm not too sure, it was a while ago.
Do you agree that there's no mention of it in what I handed you?
This is,
What's the grounds?
Relevancy. Same thing,
It's not relevant that it's not in there. Sustained.
Now, you're aware that at the time of this incident, that Mr. Mayers, let me back up. Can you explain, you said that he carried the starter pistol for security measures, and you then expanded that to say he did so after being a victim of violence and home invasions, correct? Can you explain to me how a starter pistol would assist someone who was the victim of violence or a home invasion?
well, only answer that I have is that you could scare somebody away with it. That's the only thing that I have.
So if somebody was doing a home invasion, watch this assume the following hypothetical.
Yes.
An individual does a home invasion and they have a weapon such as a firearm. Would you agree that a prop gun is not going to act as a deterrent to someone with a real firearm?
See, that's hypothetical. That's a hypothetical situation.
You don't have to answer the objection sustained.
Mr. Phillips, can a prop gun, in your experience, does it have the ability to actually stop somebody from committing violence against you?
From my understanding with the situation with Relly, no.
In fact, the reason you say that is, it's your testimony that Relly knew it was a prop gun, correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna get back to this in a moment. in the entertainment world, in the rap world that you are involved with, are you aware of individuals, of rappers, unfortunately, who have been subjected to violence, even who've been murdered?
Objection, Robert, Your Honor.
Yes,
Would you agree that if someone was out to commit a violent offense against an individual, that a prop gun is not going to be a match for a real gun or a knife or any other kind of weapon? Would you agree?
well, I'm not too sure because I'm not in another person's shoe and I'm not too sure how they would react to seeing the problem.
I want to give you the following hypothetical. I want you to assume that you're in your own home and home invaders come into your house with real firearms. Would you agree that a prop gun is not going to be the kind of weapon that's going to have any ability to stop those individuals?
I'm not too sure.
So you think that an individual, someone comes in with actual firearms, person pulls a prop gun, can you explain to me what they can do with that prop gun when they're up against somebody with a real firearm?
Well, the prop gun sounds and looks like a real gun. So I feel like if somebody's breaking into your home and they see you make a gesture to protect your home, they might not even shoot you. They might just leave. They go,
Don't.
So-
You're getting a little loud. Don't sit so close to the mic.
So it's your testimony, though, your prior statements, that Relly knew allegedly this was a prop gun at the time the defendant pulled it out. Is that correct?
yes, I believe that.
Can you explain to me how if Relly knew it was a prop gun, how pulling out a prop gun that Relly knows is fake is going to act as a deterrent to anything?
The sound,
The sound.
yes, the sound.
So meaning your testimony would be that if Relly sees a gun that he knows is fake, you would be a prop gun can't hurt him. Would you agree?
Correct.
But that if that prop gun that can't hurt him is fired, that the sound is going to scare him.
I would reject what you stated on the notice.
Can you rephrase it?
Are you saying that even though you testified Relly knew that this was a prop gun, and not real, you're saying the deterrent would have been that, well, the sound could have scared him?
Yes.
Can you explain how the sound of a gun that somebody knows is phony and not real is going to scare anybody?
Well, it's so loud that you would think it's a real gunshot and you would move away.
But you just told us, sir, that it's not a question of whether he thinks it's a real gun or not. Your position, your testimony is that he knew it was a fake gun, and that as soon as the defendant pulled it out, he said something to the effect of, put that fake shit away. Correct? That's what he testified to?
Yes.
So how is it that if he knows it's a fake gun, how is that going to deter him from anything?
Speculation, Your Honor.
You're aware that at the time of the incident, that Mr. Mayers had real guns, correct?
I guess so, yes.
Well, you've seen real guns in his house, correct?
I never seen him with a real gun in his house, so no.
I'm
Let
sorry,
me-
answer
I said I never seen him with a real gun in his house.
Let's show people's 39, A through F, please. You've been to the defendant's house in West Hollywood, correct?
Yes.
You stayed there, correct?
Yes.
You partied there, correct? Is that correct?
Yes,
You've been there on multiple occasions, correct?
yes,
You were there in 2021, correct?
yes.
You've been there since that time, correct?
Been there since, a couple times.
So this people's 39, you recognize that's the defendant's bedroom in his bed, correct?
I'm not too sure, honestly, but it looks like a bed.
So you're saying you don't recall seeing that bed before?
No, I've seen the bed before, but I can't really tell.
Well,
Because they also, like, you never been to Rocky Crib, he be having like some cool looking couches that look futuristic. So I'm
I have
too
not
sure.
been there.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, I'm not too sure.
Okay. When you look at it right now, does that appear to be, from what you can tell, what does AWG mean?
Oh,
Huh?
oh,
What does that mean? Does that mean something?
being oh,
Okay. Have you, what's that term from?
Objection, vote,
What- Your Honor, I'm having to prove.
Do you know what that means?
no, I just know it's all. It's just,
Do you know what the letters mean?
I don't know, I could have my own way, but I'm not.
You don't know for sure?
No.
Your Honor,
Speculation.
there was a,
One shoot or sidebar, or we do-
yeah, we need to go to sidebar.
Off the record.
What AWG is, and you have said you have no idea, correct? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you hear the defendant, when I asked the question, loudly say, don't answer it?
I heard something, I'm not too sure what I heard, I was listening to you.
Did you hear somebody say, don't answer it?
I didn't hear what was verbally said, I heard something.
Isn't it true that AWG, AWGE, is a brand that is connected with the defendant?
Yes.
So a moment ago, when I asked you what AWG was, and you said I have no idea, why did you say that when you're now saying, yes, it's a brand connected with the defendant?
Objection, misstates the testimony, Your Honor. That's what it means.
Yeah, that was the question. Sustain.
Did you a moment ago testify that you did not know what AWG was when I asked you?
You asked me what did the acronym mean.
No, I never used the word.
You said, you asked me what.
Don't start debating.
What does, I asked you, what does AWG mean? And you said, I have no idea. Do you recall that?
I know what ASAP means, I don't know what all means.
Right, that's,
Okay. So,
hold up, we'll take a break now, and, this issue is fully explored.
all right.
Let's break till, no. 10 to 3. 10 to 3. you know, if it's relevant, next Wednesday is a court on. So there's a very good chance that you should have the case long before then. If you're not finished, you won't have to be here on Wednesday. I think it's Abraham Lincoln. Is it Abraham Lincoln's birthday? Abraham Lincoln. All right, we're back on the record. All parties, jurors, and counsel are present. Mr. Wheeler?
Mr. Phillips, would you agree that that appears to be the defendant's bedroom at West Hollywood home?
I believe so.
I want to show you the next photograph, which is going to be 39 feet. And this is an image that is taken from behind the bed. It's a little bit hard to see. Do you see the eye? Let me bring it up to you. It's my big piece here. Okay. I want you to look at this item that's in a red square. For the record, I am handing that pointer. I'm thinking, I'm showing him. I'm showing him this item here. Is that correct, Mr. Phillips? That's what I just showed you on the photo. So you agree it's a little easier to see on this one, on the photo itself rather than the overhead?
Yeah.
You see that? Can you tell me, what does that look like to you?
It looks like a handgun.
And you would agree, does this look very similar to the prop gun that you have testified that you saw the defendant in possession of?
Well, no,
How's it different?
it doesn't have the modifications on it.
So what was the modification that the prop gun has that this one doesn't have?
It had like a belt clip, and then it had like I think like a magazine, like a clean magazine hanging.
Okay, let me just ask you, you understand that a belt clip would not be a part of any gun, right? You understand that, right?
If it's modified, then it's an accessory to the gun name. So it's a part of the gun name, yes.
Well, this is what I'm saying. For instance, you're saying the defendant was wearing a belt clip during the incident, right?
Yes,
And you see that he takes the gun out of the belt clip, correct?
well, no. No, I never seen him take the gun out the belt clip.
That's what I'm telling you. You saw the gun, you've seen the video as an example, the gun is removed, correct? And there's no belt clip that is on the gun when it's in his hand, correct?
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, when you're saying, well, this isn't the same gun because the prop gun had a belt clip, you can have the gun separate from the belt clip, correct?
If you take it off, I'm assuming, but I'm not too sure.
Okay, so what I'm asking you is, when you look at that gun itself, other than the belt clip, and the fact that you are saying, you can't see the magazine in that photograph, correct? No. Here, let me give it to you right now. Can you see it?
Oh, no.
So you would agree that because of this photograph, you cannot see the bottom of the firearm where the magazine would be, correct?
Because of the photograph.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, but you can't see it, right?
No. And then you also can't see if the belt clip is on the side, so I'm not.
So, but here's what I'm asking you, because you can't see the entire belt, you can't see the magazine, and you don't know if there's a belt clip, other than that, this gun looks similar to the prop gun that you've seen the defendant with, right?
Well, I'm not sure. I can't say that.
So what I'm asking you though is this gun appears to be a semi-automatic, right? It's not a revolver.
It's not a revolver.
And the prop gun that you saw was semi-automatic, correct?
Yes.
What color was the prop gun that you saw the defendant have?
It was black.
And was it black all three times you've seen it?
Yes.
All right, I want to go to the next image. By the way, the firearm was behind the defendant's bed in his house approximately 5 months after this incident occurred. You follow me?
I hear you.
I want to ask you, you were told that the defendant was told that he needed to carry a prop gun for protection against violence or home invasion, correct?
I was never told, I never told anybody.
So where did you get the information that Rocky carried a starter pistol for security measures after being the victim of violence and home invasion? Where did you get that information from?
Because when I seen him and the days that he had to secure on him, he had no security.
Okay, so my question is are you aware that the defendant kept real firearms, not prop guns, in his bedroom next to his bed?
No, I did not hang out in his bedroom.
So would you agree that if the defendant was keeping real firearms next to his bed, that that would be a different step than keeping a prop gun for protection?
Can you rephrase that?
Sure. So let me just show you the three other photos. So going to the next photo, this is that same handgun. The evidence is indicated it's a 44 Magnum semi-automatic. Do you see at the bottom, can you see what looks like a magazine on the bottom or no? Do you recognize that?
No, I never seen it.
Okay. You go to the next image. This again, next to the bed. And you will see a gun case where you go to the next photo. Inside the gun case by the defendant's bed is a rifle. Have you seen this before?
No.
Have you seen that before?
No.
Did you ever know the defendant to have a rifle in the bedroom?
No.
Let's go to the next image, please. Do you know what this is? Can you see what's pictured? Do you know what that is?
Is that the same rifle?
No. Do you see in the front? Do you see those things that have red on top? Do you know what those are?
Yes.
Yeah, do you know what those are?
Little shell cases, those shells?
Those are shotgun shells. Do you know what shotgun shells are?
No, I'm not a gun specialist.
Okay, so what you see here is a shotgun. That's the evidence that's been presented in this case. So my question is, were you aware that next to his bed, in his bedroom, the defendant kept not a prop gun, but a large caliber 44 Magnum handgun, a rifle, and a shotgun? Were you aware of that?
Right, to that objections as
What's the objection?
clarification on the.
That's not, I didn't ask for a date. They didn't ask for a single date.
What?
Say again?
Ambiguous as to.
Are you aware that when the search warrant was served, approximately 5 months after this incident, that the defendant had these firearms, a 44 Magnum, a rifle, and a shotgun next to his bed?
As I said before, I did not hang out in his bedroom, so I do not know what he had in his bedroom.
But you testified that it was your understanding that the defendant was keeping a prop gun for, among other things, protection against home invasions, correct? That's what you testified to.
Yes.
So, do you know why, if the defendant was keeping a prop gun for protection against home invasions, that he had a large caliber handgun, a rifle, and a shotgun next to his bed?
Objection, speculation. Sustain.
Are you aware if a prop gun has ever been collected from the defendant?
I have no idea.
Now, you said that at the time of the incident, that the defendant did not have access to security, is that correct?
Correct,
And you said that's because of COVID, is that right?
yes.
Weren't you at a giant concert the next day in Long Beach that had all kinds of security?
They provided security.
Well, so are you telling me that the defendant, your testimony, was not in a position to have security if he wanted it on November 6th?
Can you rephrase that?
Isn't it true, Mr. Phillips, that the defendant didn't have any security on November 6th because you and he and Ills did not want any security there when you were going to attack Relly?
That's,
I would object to what Bill's brought on.
No, those are not grounds for objection.
Calls for speculation of the mind of another. So raise your hand.
The question is not called for speculation. I'm asking you.
Sustain.
What's that, Your Honor?
Oh, but wait, read it back. I'm focusing on the first part of the question and I'm read it back.
Isn't it true, Mr. Phillips, that the defendant didn't have any security on November 6th because you and he and Ills did not want any security there when you were going to attack?
Sustain.
Isn't it true that you knew in advance that the defendant was planning on attacking Relly?
Yes or no?
that's not true.
Do you know when the defendant ended up first having the prop gun that day?
Well, as I stated before, I was staying at the Park Hotel. I did not wake up at his house. I'm not too sure what was going on before that.
So, is it your position that there was no security available for the defendant that evening? Or is it your position that he just didn't want the security? I'm trying to understand, what is your testimony?
Can you rephrase that?
So, there was no security when the three of you, Ills, and the defendant, met up with Relly, correct?
Correct.
So my question is, are you saying there was no security because there was no security available? Or are you saying there was no security because you guys didn't want security?
There was no security available that he hired. They had security at a complex con already. So I felt as though this is what I believe. Why pay for extra security when you have security at the venue?
Well, so wait a minute. Haven't you said that the defendant has been a victim of repeated incidents of violence when he is out on the streets?
I never said that. I said we were in a club and a situation happened in the club.
So you mentioned in your statement that he has been a victim of violence and home invasion. What did you mean by that?
Well, I was with him when we got jumped in the club and cut. And it's been a situation where I've been in the house and there's been like stalkers outside with signs and stuff like that.
When you say cut, you got stabbed.
Yes.
Who got stabbed?
I got stabbed and Rocky got stabbed.
And when was this?
2018.
And this was in your home, his home, is that right?
No, this was, we was out at a club. We was at a club.
So my question is, you're saying there was security at the event in Long Beach?
Yes.
So my question is, you're now in downtown Los Angeles, right? How did you describe downtown Los Angeles earlier in your testimony?
It's pretty crazy downtown Los Angeles.
So you're in downtown Los Angeles with the defendant, Ills, yourself, and there's no security, is that correct?
Well, security wasn't needed. We was going to see one of our friends.
I object.
Stay the ground.
Yes, misstates the testimony, this is West Austin.
Sustain.
Where you just
It's
changed.
it's assumed facts, not evidence. This happened in Hollywood, it didn't happen downtown Los Angeles.
I'm staying downtown.
let me back up. Do you agree, is what you said about downtown Los Angeles and the dangers, do you believe that applies to Hollywood as well?
Yeah, they have homeless people in tents in West Hollywood as well.
You would agree that the area where you were meeting up with Rel in front of the W, that is an area where there are plenty of individuals who are homeless and violent like downtown Los Angeles, correct?
Possibly.
Well, is that your experience?
Yes.
So, my, my question is, did you choose, or the defendant choose, did you guys choose not to have security that night, or are you saying there was just no security available?
We had security for the complex con event. From there, we left. We were going to go to another show. But before that, we were going to communicate with Relly because we had another show the next day, which is complex con. So there was no need to have security. It wasn't going to be any issue. You know, these are friends. We've been friends for the past 20 years.
You've indicated he's gonna be out on a public street in Hollywood, where he's a well-known individual.
Yes,
And don't you agree that given what you've said, that whenever he is out, that he is at risk?
he's very recognizable.
So my question is, isn't it true that the reason that you did not have any security with you that night was because there was a plan that Relly was going to be attacked?
That is not true.
Time to move on to another topic.
Now, you said it was, if it said that it wasn't, back up. You said that ASAP Relly knew and said, hey, that's a fake gun, correct?
Correct.
Are you aware, was it common knowledge as far as you knew, that Mr. Mayers carried a rocket?
Yes.
And when you say it was common knowledge, where was it common knowledge? In other words, who knew that he carried a rocket, based on what you know, general reputation?
Pretty sure his close friends, family, and circle. It wasn't something, because if he's out here telling people, yo, I just got a problem, you never know who could tell somebody else and put him in another dangerous situation.
So you're saying that it's not that everybody out there knows he's carried a rocket, it's just close family and friends, right?
Yes, and Relly was a close family and friend.
Did you ever know the defendant to carry a real firearm?
No, but I did know he had a permit.
I'm gonna motion to strike, the second part is non-responsive.
Everything after notice.
So I want to start at the beginning of the day of the incident. So I want to start at the beginning of November 7th. Where did you sleep the night of November 6th?
At the La Park Hotel.
And were you by yourself?
In my room, yeah.
You had flown out before that from New York, is that correct?
Yes.
How'd you get out here?
My flight,
Did you go commercial?
it was a regular flight. It wasn't first class. It was just a regular flight.
You didn't fly out, the defendant didn't fly you out private?
No.
No? All right, so you fly out, when do you land?
Either the first or the second.
Okay. And where did you stay between the first and the second and the 7th?
So the La Park Hotel wasn't too far in the area, so we would hang out at his crib, you know, whether we were creating or just having a good time. This is the 10-year anniversary of the Love ASAP, so we have a lot of friends and family in town. So we was going back and forth from the crib to our hotel. Like, he had family there, so we stayed at the hotel.
Right. By his crib, meaning the defendant's home in West Hollywood, right?
Yes,
The home where I've just shown you the picture of the bedroom and the bed, correct?
yes,
And so you're saying you were actually at that house, not months before or months after, but literally the day before the incident occurred?
yes,
Was Gills there too?
yes.
What about Relly?
No,
At this point in time, were you aware of any, I'm not asking you to explain what it is, so listen to my question carefully. Were you aware of any issues between Relly and the defendant on November 6th?
Rephrase that.
So were you aware of any problems between Relly and the defendant on November 6th?
A problem? No.
Were you aware of any animosity or hostility going either way?
I was aware that two brothers wanted to have a communication with each other, and they were trying their best to reach out to one another. That's what I was aware of.
When you say they want to have a communication, isn't it true that the two of them were having issues with each other?
I wouldn't say issues, they just weren't communicating on the same page.
And by not communicating on the same page means that the two of them were having a problem, and your belief was they needed to work it out. Is that right?
To me, it wasn't a problem because, like I said, we've been friends and brothers for the past 20 years. It wasn't a problem.
Well, isn't it true that what you're saying is you believe that it was a problem that could be worked out, but will you concede that the two of them on that day had some issues with each other, going both ways?
So from my understanding, it wasn't a problem. It was more of a miscommunication, and they needed to communicate.
Let's answer the question.
So, were you aware of any bad feelings that Mr. Mayers had towards Relly?
No,
Were you aware of any bad feelings that Relly had toward Mr. Mayers?
no.
So, how was it that you, Ills, and Mayers ended up meeting up with Relly near the parking garage around the W Hotel?
Well, we were already together, me, Rocky, and Ills, because we was at the rehearsal for Complex Con. So whoever was gonna be there was gonna be with us regardless. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to do this. No, we were at rehearsal.
And isn't it true that it was Mr. Mayer's idea to meet up with Relly?
I'm not too sure who idea it was. I just know he wanted to speak to Relly because we had a show the next day, and he wanted Relly to be there.
So, would you agree that Mr. Mayers, as far as you knew, wanted to meet up? I'm not asking why, but wanted to meet up with Relly.
Because we got downtown, well, we got to where we got to, I believe so, yeah. He wanted, that's his bro, he just wanted to speak to him.
What was your understanding as to what was supposed to happen at this meeting?
Well, whatever miscommunication that they had going on, I believe that they were gonna speak. The next day was the show, everything was just gonna be great. It was gonna be like it was 10 years ago.
Now, you were with the defendant most of the day, correct?
No, because like I said, I stayed at the La Park Hotel. So once I left the La Park Hotel and we got ready for rehearsal, then I went there for rehearsal.
I want to show you People's 13, please. This is a text that was sent approximately within an hour of the incident on November 6th. The evidence has demonstrated that this was sent by the defendant to Relly. The defendant's part of it is what is in gray, and the victim is in blue. Are you aware, well, first of all, you were with the defendant at 9:34 p.m. that day.
Yes, I was.
And it says, Wyatt, let's get to it, stop ducking my calls. Would you agree?
Yes.
Would you agree, knowing the defendant, that that sounds like he is upset with the person he said it to?
No, because actually, Rocky typed in all caps. So it's like, nah, this is regular. We gotta listen to it. Stop looking at my phone. He's calling. It doesn't seem like he's exclamation marks and anything.
Stop ducking my calls. You would agree that means that Relly's not answering his phone calls, correct?
Yeah, he's not picking up.
Okay. And would you agree that even at this time in his life, the defendant was not used to people, in your experience, not answering his calls?
I'm not too sure what he's used to.
Okay. Other than trying to fix things between them, et cetera, and talk, do you have any knowledge as to what the purpose was for that meeting?
Yes. so that we could have a amazing show the next day at Conference Con. As you can see, the video showed me earlier, it was friends and family. So it wouldn't have been unusual for Relly not to be there, like he was supposed to be there.
Was your understanding that Relly was supposed to perform there?
Relly is not a musician.
I'm sorry, was supposed to, excuse me, was supposed to.
He's supposed to be there, like, okay, he doesn't rap, you feel me, but he is a part of the family, so why not have him be there?
And when you say Relly was supposed to be there, how do you know that?
Because the other members of the ASAP collective were there.
So you're assuming that because the other members of the ASAP collective were there, that Relly was invited, correct?
Yes,
Are you aware that Relly has testified that he was not invited?
I'm not too sure, but it seems odd that he wouldn't be invited.
Well, would you agree that it wouldn't be odd if the defendant is upset with him?
It would be odd if he was upset with him, but I don't think he was upset with him.
So this is my question. Would you agree that if the defendant was upset with Relly, that you would not be surprised if Relly was not asked?
Rephrase that for me, please.
So I want you to assume for a moment that the defendant was upset with Relly. I want you to assume that. If that's true, you would agree it wouldn't surprise you if Relly wasn't invited to the performance, right?
I don't think I'm up here to assume.
What's that?
I'm not up here to assume.
Well, so when I give you a hypothetical, that's exactly what you're to do. So
Should
I'm-
object to you more than that.
Sustain.
I'm asking you, so listen, you haven't testified in court before, so when someone, I'm gonna give you a hypothetical.
Okay, no
When
problem.
I give you this hypothetical, that means you need to assume that the hypothetical is true. So I want you to assume for a moment that the defendant was upset with Relly. If the defendant was upset with Relly, would you agree that it would not be unusual, knowing the defendant, for him not to invite Relly to the show?
Objection to grounds of relevant false speculation.
Sustain.
I want to start with the incident by the parking garage. You would agree that there were three of you there, yourself, ASAP Mills, and Mr. Mayor, and that Relly was by himself, correct?
Yes. But I wouldn't say he by himself, we all part of the same collective.
Do you recall yourself, prior to the meeting, do you recall yourself trying to call or text Relly when the defendant could not get hold of him?
Yeah,
So why were you texting or calling Relly when it wasn't you that wanted to talk to him?
well, for one, we are all, it's a brotherhood, right? So if one person can't get in contact with one person, let me try, that was all.
And the reason, correct, that you ended up calling or texting Relly was because you believed that Relly was ducking the defendant's calls. You want to talk to him,
Can
right?
you rephrase that?
So you've seen the text that's right in front of you. It says, "Stop ducking my calls." That's from the defendant, correct? You yourself, at around that time, texted or called Relly trying to get a hold of him as well, right? And you were doing that because he would not return the defendant's text, correct?
Well, I didn't have like a reason, like, because he did it. Relly is a friend and a brother of mine as well, so I'm trying to reach out.
You're trying to reach out because you're aware that the defendant, who you're in the car with, can't get a hold of him, correct?
Yes,
So you are reaching out at the defendant's behest because you want to try and set up communication between the defendant and Relly.
yes, I want to set up communication.
And he wouldn't take your call and respond to you either, correct?
From my recollection, no,
Meaning that's correct, what I said, he did not respond.
yes.
So you said that you guys get there. You previously testified that when you guys arrived, there was no plan, correct?
No plan. As far as a plan, the situation before was for Rocky to converse with Remy. That was it.
And at this point in time, you agree, you have no idea that the defendant has any kind of gun, prop gun or real gun on his body, correct?
I knew he had the prop because he had the prop at rehearsal.
Oh, so you knew he had a prop gun.
At rehearsal.
When's the first time you saw the prop gun in the defendant's possession that day?
In his possession?
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. It might have been the altercation,
Okay, so
like in his possession.
you
because
said
of
he
the-
had it earlier that day.
Yes, the ASAP Blue had it earlier that day because Rocky was on stage rehearsing, so he couldn't rehearse, jump around, and get ready for the show in that state. So he gave it to ASAP Blue.
Did you actually see this?
I only seen Lou with it. I didn't see when he gave it to him. No, I was also on stage rehearsing.
How do you know that ASAP Lou, the gun that he had, was the same gun that defendant had?
Well, Lou is the only liaison at the show that could be able to do anything with Rocky aside from us. So that's why I believe it to be the same thing.
My question is, how do you know that that's the same? Did you see Lou give the gun back to Rocky?
I can't recall.
So you mentioned that you guys arrived at the location by the W, and you had a driver, right?
I believe so.
And would you agree that up to this point, there is nothing abnormal? You're saying you don't know what's gonna happen, right?
Well, the car ride was beautiful. We together. Like I said, it's the anniversary of a big situation for us. So everything was love.
Right, but what I'm asking you is, at this point in time, nothing unusual has happened, right?
No,
And you have no reason to believe, would you agree, you have no reason to believe at this time that there's going to be anything unusual that's going to happen?
no, because I even heard them quickly on the phone. Really picked up for Rocky. You feel me? And it was a regular conversation. Nobody's going back and forth, yelling. They were able to tell each other where they were going to be so you could meet up. It wasn't no, yo, it wasn't like that.
Could you hear both sides of the conversation?
Couldn't. I think I couldn't really hear real, but I heard Rocky jokingly ask like, "Yo, where you at, bro?" I believe he told him where he was at, which was I think the W Hotel or something like that. And Rocky and Relly had a relationship for years. Relly was viewed as Relly the boss. He told him that he was at the W. Rocky joking with him, "Yo, you're not at the bum ass W, bro. Where you at? Like, let me see where you at. Like, show me your room." And I guess bro act like he was at the W, but he was somewhere else. But yeah, that was the conversation. It was a friendly conversation because they friends.
So what you're saying is that the conversation between Relly and Rocky leading up to this first incident was completely friendly and just joking around. So my question is, do you agree that up to this point, when you're arriving near the W, there's nothing special about the ride you're on, no reason for you to remember anything, correct? Just a regular day, regular ride?
Well, it was special because I'm with my brothers.
No, but I'm asking not in terms of this special, is there
Yeah.
anything memorable about it in particular, just driving the car?
I think he was playing new music. You feel me? So that was cool. It was a vibe.
So you mentioned on direct examination, you mentioned that when you got there, you were able to recite the literal order of who got out of the car. Do you remember testifying to that?
Yes, because I was sitting in the back of the car.
So how do you remember specifically, you had a driver, right?
Yeah.
So how do you specifically remember the order of you, the defendant, and Gil, who got out of the car? What made you remember that, do you know?
Well, because if I'm in the back and they're the only two that's in front of me, they gotta get out first.
What kind of vehicle were you
It was like a black truck.
in? Was it a two-door truck?
Nah, it's like a 4-door, like big body black truck.
Right, so you're basically like a luxury chauffeured SUV, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to get out first. Everybody's got a door, they can exit how they want, right?
No, that's not true. Because you can't always sit with the driver. So the driver has his door, and then the 2 doors in the back is for the 2 passengers in the back, and it's a seat that's behind there. And and I was sitting right behind my two bros in the back, and they were sitting in the two seats in front of me.
I'm just asking you, do you know why it is that you specifically remember the exact order you exited the car?
Because that was the only people that I was with.
So you get out, and how long after you get out is it that you see Relly coming up?
Can you rephrase that?
After you get out of the car
Yes.
or the truck,
Mhm.
how long after that is it before you see Relly coming up?
Well, I seen him. I was already kind of like out the truck already, but I wasn't as far up as, it was in Rocky because I got out last. You feel me? So I'm kind of in the back. I see them in front of me. I see Rel coming down the hill.
Okay, when you first saw Relly, how far away was he from the closest of the three of you?
When I first seen him, he wasn't that close. No.
He was by himself though, right?
Yeah.
So he's coming up, and would you agree that if you can see him, he can see the three of you, is that right?
I'm pretty sure, but I feel like he probably seen Rocky only. He probably didn't see me till last. I don't think he seen me until I came up in between.
So it's your testimony that, based on where you're positioned, that you don't think Relly knew you were there until after the incident started?
Yeah.
But he did know, at least in terms of position, you believe he would have been able to see Gills, correct?
Yes.
So it's your position that Relly comes up, and you said before he was like walking in a fashion. Can you describe, was there something about the way he walked that led you to believe that there was a problem?
Well, I done worked out with Rocky, so I know him. And his movement, he got a little more pep in his step than usual. And he's coming down, like, it's big like a hill, so he's coming down. And you can see his vibe, a little more momentum. He comes down, and as soon as he meets up with Rocky, you feel me? And this is after Rocky walks from the car. Rocky walks up. Rocky's not doing anything. He doesn't grab Rel first or anything. He's walking up to Rel, and as soon as he gets up to Rel grabs him.
So let me ask you, up to this point, you're saying that they were completely joking in the car a couple of minutes before, right?
Yes.
Everything,
But I said I did not hear what Relly was saying.
but you said that the defendant's response indicated to you that everything was cool and they were just joking around.
Yes.
So it's your testimony that Relly comes up, and what's the next thing that happens when he approaches?
As soon as he sees Rocky, he grabs him.
And when you say grabs, what hand he grabbed him?
I believe his left hand.
Okay. And when he grabbed him, did you see him attempt to punch him?
When he grabbed him, he automatically started because he got him by his I think his hoodie and stuff. So I'm not too sure if he's trying to pull his hoodie over or he's just trying to kind of have Rocky in the air dangle. I see that's what he was doing.
Well, let me stop. You said he grabbed with one hand.
Yeah.
Now you're gesturing like he's grabbing with two hands. How many hands he grabbed?
He ended up grabbing him with two hands, yes.
Did he start with one
He
hand?
started with one hand.
Which hand did he grab with first?
He grabbed him with his left hand, I believe.
And do you know whether Relly's right or left-handed?
I believe Relly was right-handed.
And so would you agree that if he grabbed him with his left hand, that his right hand would have been free, if he wanted to punch the defendant?
Possibly, but he did end up grabbing him with both hands.
But let me ask you, did you see him attempt to in any way punch the defendant?
No, he was just basically trying to lift the defendant off his feet. So I'm not too sure what he's going to do after that, but he tried to lift him off his feet.
Motion strike everything after no.
You're right, but we need to finish this case before the end of the decade. So let him explain again. I'm just doing this to try to facilitate the trial. So let's move it along. Go ahead.
So when this incident started, where were you standing?
I was behind.
And how far away were you from Relly and the defendant?
Well, I wasn't that close because I literally had to get up to them and get in the middle. So I wasn't that close. Even in the video, you see I put my hand on really last to move out. So that's, as I said before about people getting out the car, how I knew Rocky and Ills got out first, because they were already closer to Relly than I was.
Mr. Phillips, isn't it true that in fact, Mr. Mayor grabbed Relly's left arm before Relly ever did anything to him?
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, when you say you don't think so, I'm asking you what you know.
I know for a fact that Rocky, look, you don't want me to say that he's a bigger guy, but I doubt Rocky's just gonna grab Relly, you feel me? And I don't think he grabbed Relly first. Relly grabbed Rocky.
Let me ask something. I asked you before, at this time, during this incident, your testimony is that Relly is physically stronger. If Relly and Rocky are gonna fight, Relly's gonna win, correct?
Correct.
But would you agree, even at this time, that if Relly and Rocky are gonna fight, that Rocky is powerful enough in the industry to basically end Relly on the spot, correct?
No.
Okay, you disagree. Isn't it true that it was at this time that Mr. Mayers pulled out the firearm, the Porsche described the prop gun?
I don't think he just pulled it out. So as I was saying
No
earlier,
question, Benny. Did you actually see the gun come out?
I seen when Rocky was adjusting the prop to put the prop back into his waistline.
Okay, so that would be after it's come out and being put back, is that right?
That was after Relly is literally trying to lift him off his feet, and
Motion to
Rocky.
strike is non-responsive.
As I said before, we need to move,
Your Honor, but it's not,
we need to move this along.
I'm doing it. Listen to my question.
Rephrase it, please.
I'm asking you, did you see the gun come out of the clip? I'm not asking you,
Yes or no?
when you saw it put back, did you see it come out?
Yes.
So my question is, when is the first time at that incident that you saw the prop gun?
It was when Relly was grabbing and picking up Rocky. And Rocky was with his hands up, trying to catch his balance, reassure his grip on the floor, because Relly is bigger than him, he was pulling him, and they both fell back. So, being that it was a belt clip, his belt, his pants, from the video you can see, is falling. So that's when I believe the prop to fall. He never pulled the prop up.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, did you see the defendant remove the prop gun from his belt?
I did not see him remove it. I see him put it back.
Okay, so that's my question. The first time you saw the gun was when it was being put back?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna now show you the video of the incident by the parking garage. This is gonna be people 15 combined surveillance video, and we're gonna show the first incident. So what I'm gonna do very much like in this video. I'm gonna run it through one time so you can see it. And I'm gonna ask you specific questions about it. So I want you to watch it. Stop it. How many times do you think you've seen that portion of the video?
A couple times.
Well, you've only seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. Like
Meaning
not more
two.
than, not more than 10, just a few times.
Or is it a couple or is it 10?
I said not, I have not seen the video 10 times, so that's why I said a couple times. I've only seen the video a couple
When's the first time you saw it?
times. To be honest, the first time I seen the video was on TMZ.
Does the video that you just saw, does that accurately depict, as much as you can remember, what happened?
Yes, but no.
Okay, can you explain what you mean by it?
Because from the video, you see Rocky with the prop in his hand. You also see Rocky put the prop away. You feel me? But you don't see how the prop gets into his hand.
Okay. Do you agree, having watched the video, that it shows Relly walking up and immediately being accosted by Mr. Ayers?
Can you rephrase that?
Let's show the very beginning. Pause it. So I'm gonna ask you, in a moment, I'm gonna ask you, who was it, Relly or the defendant, who ended up starting this exchange? I want you to watch. Go ahead. Go back one more time. Stop. Would you agree that you've got the defendant reaching towards Relly and the defendant, I'm sorry, you've got the defendant reaching towards Relly and Relly grabbing the defendant's hand or arm in response?
No, what I see is Relly putting his hand up. So he moves it from his back, and then he automatically goes to grab Rocky. That's what I see.
Okay, keep going with the video, please. Stop. Would you agree that what you just saw was the defendant holding on to Relly, and Relly has a free right hand, which was available to strike the defendant, which he does not do? Would you agree?
I agree.
Okay, keep going. Stop. Would you agree that that shows Relly being pushed by the defendant?
I'm not gonna say push because they're both grabbing on each other, trying to assert like balance, a stance.
Let me ask you something. You indicated how strong the defendant is, how strong Relly is,
Yes.
how strong the defendant. If the defendant, if Relly, based on your experience with him, had wanted to attack the defendant, had wanted to push him back, had wanted to hit him, you would agree Relly is big enough and strong enough to have done that, right?
I agree.
Okay, keep going. Stop. That's you, correct?
No, that's
I'm
not.
sorry, that's Hills, excuse me. I apologize. That is ASAP Hills, right?
Yes.
And go back. What did you just see Hills do in the video?
I see Ills trying to defuse the situation, get in between them, and like basically get Relly and Rocky off each other. Because right before you hit this clip, you can see Relly with both his hands around Rocky's neck, or his hoodie, or whatever, right there.
And you're saying you have this independent memory of exactly what's on the video?
That's
Stop. From the only 2 or 3 times you watched it.
no, I just seen that.
Oh, okay. Let's back this up a little bit, please.
Like,
Watch, so I want you to watch Ills. Stop. Isn't it true, Mr. Phillips, that Ills is trying to get Rocky off of Relly, is trying to get between them, is trying to push him back, and that the defendant continues to go towards Relly?
Objection, Your Honor, is a compound motion.
It's compound, sustain.
All right, I was trying to speed it up, Your Honor, I'll do one at a time then. Okay, back it up. What does Relly do Stop.
He-
Right now, would you agree, Ills is grabbing the defendant who is between he and Relly. Ills is not between the two of them. The defendant is between, is that correct?
No, because if this is Rocky on one end, Relly is on the other end. Ills has both his hands basically getting in the middle to break it up.
Wait a minute. Can you point with your pointer there? Point to where Ills is. Point to where the defendant is. Point to where Relly is.
Right there.
So how can you say that Ills is between the defendant and Relly when Ills is on the other side of the defendant?
Because if there's a person standing here and a person standing here, he's trying to get in the middle of it.
So I didn't ask you what he was trying to do. Listen to my question.
But he is getting in the middle.
Do you agree that this video shows Ills not between the defendant and Relly, but behind the defendant, grabbing him?
He's not behind the defendant.
He is, so it's your belief that this video does not show Ills behind the defendant? No. Okay? We go back slightly. Stop. You agree, Relly has just gone off the screen, correct?
Yes.
You agree that the defendant is pushing him off the screen, correct?
He was pulling Rocky.
Okay, so whether he's pulling or pushing, do you agree that Ills is not between the two of them?
This isn't the same clip that you showed me before, but right here, he's behind.
Okay, so right now you agree Ills is behind, right?
It was behind right here.
Okay, now we're gonna keep the clip going. Stop. Is Ills still behind?
See, now, it was just behind him, trying to pull him away from Relly. And in this photo, you can see Relly with his hand around Rocky.
Okay, you just said a second ago, in this image at this point, Ills is trying to pull the defendant off of Relly, correct?
In this image, he's trying to get the defendant off of Relly, while Relly is grabbing the defendant by his neck.
Listen to my question. In this image, do you agree that it shows Ills trying to get the defendant off of Relly, yes or no?
I'm not saying no, I don't think he's trying to get him off because you don't see Rocky a certain dominance right here. So I think he's just trying to get in the middle
Motion
to
strike
the
is
situation.
non-responsive?
Ask another question.
Keep the video going. Stop. Would you agree that at this point in time, there is no attempt where you have seen Relly trying to punch, kick, slap, do anything to the defendant?
So if you play from the clip before, you can obviously see him choking. So a few seconds later, no, he's not choking, but he was choking.
Wait, so your testimony is now, we missed, he was choking, Relly was choking the defendant, is your testimony.
That's, if you want to play the video back, you can see it.
Have you ever mentioned before this moment in court that you saw Relly choking the defendant?
What I said was,
Wait, answer my question, please. Have you ever said before this moment in court, ever, that you saw Relly choking the defendant?
no, because I never seen.
Motion to strike everything after no? Do you agree that Relly at this point in time does not have either of his hands on the defendant?
Correct.
Do you agree that Ills, at this point in time, is not paying any attention to Relly and is looking forward, trying to get the defendant separated because he's coming after Relly?
Objection, objection, speculation still.
Please quit. Stop. Do you agree that what you just showed shows Ills backing Relly up?
Yes.
Would you agree that as with the defendant, that Relly is considerably bigger and stronger than Ills as well?
Yes.
Do you agree that knowing Relly and knowing Ills and knowing the strength between them, that if Relly had wanted to go forward and go after the defendant, that he had the ability at that point?
Possibly.
Possibly? I'm asking you, from what you've seen, does it look like Relly is in any way trying to go after the defendant?
Right then and there, you see his hand coming around him, so I'm not too sure what he was doing.
So at this point in time, do you know if the defendant already has the gun out?
No.
You don't know?
No.
Let's run it, please. Did you see the gun?
So yeah.
You can see right, you see the gun in his hand?
I see the prop in his hand. Yes.
Do you see the gun in his hand?
Yes.
At this point in time, would you agree that the defendant is aggressively going towards Relly with a gun in his hand, and that Ills is trying to keep the defendant from making contact with Relly?
Can you rephrase that?
Would you agree that at this point in time, the defendant has a gun in his hand, is moving aggressively toward Relly, and that Ills is trying to prevent Relly from getting close to the defendant? I'm sorry, that's trying to prevent the defendant from getting close to Relly.
You have to rephrase it because.
That's my fault.
Yeah.
Do you agree, at this point in time, defendant has a gun in his hand? Agree?
Okay.
Agree? Say yes?
Yes.
And do you agree that at this point in time, that the defendant is aggressively moving towards Ills and Relly?
Well, in this clip, because Relly was already grabbing him and kind of like, trying to little boy him, you feel me? So I just see Rocky just trying to get himself out of the corner. Just trying to get himself out of the corner, get himself from out of here. I'm not too sure what else is right here. He could have been backed up against the side of the garage wall. And he was just trying to get himself up out of that situation.
So you're saying the defendant is trying to get himself out of a bad
He's
situation?
just trying to get himself up out of here. He doesn't have the prop on Relly. He's not pointing the prop at Relly. He's not doing anything like that. So
Let me ask you something. At this point in time, can't the defendant simply have gone the other way and exited himself from the situation?
Objection, close speculation.
You were at the scene
yes, I was.
when the defendant is moving towards Relly with a gun. Was there anything preventing the defendant, as is shown in the video, from turning around and going the other way?
As you can see in the video, I'm not too sure how long this lasts. He does that exactly as soon as he's able to get up out of this space.
So it's your position that the defendant did not have the opportunity to go the other way, is that?
No, because Relly pushed him under the garage. The garage it's like it was built under something, so you can't walk through the wall. He had to wait till he got from under the garage so he could be able to get up out of there.
You agree that in this image that you've seen, and you were at the actual incident, the defendant has his finger on the trigger, correct?
No.
So you don't see his finger on the trigger in this video.
I do not see that.
Well, let's run it again. do you agree that it appears that the defendant's finger is on the trigger?
I see his hand is on the prop. I cannot tell you if his finger is on the trigger. No.
So, at this point in time, is this when Relly yells, "Put that fake gun away"?
So as Rocky starts turning, yes, he says, put that fake ass gun away.
And your position is, I just want to be clear, that at this point in time, when that gun comes out,
Yes,
Relly knows it's a fake gun.
yes, I believe that,
Okay.
yes.
Continue. Stop it. Do you know what the defendant did with the gun after he pulled it out when they go off frame?
In this clip or another clip?
No, just listen to what I'm saying. You just saw the defendant take out the gun.
Yes.
You saw the defendant then go forward, which would be to the left of this video, so we don't see him. He goes off screen. You know what I mean by that, right?
Yes.
Do you know what the defendant did with the gun that he just pulled out when he went off screen?
Well, as you can see, he put it back into his waistline and he was leaving.
When did you see him put it back?
Well, when I was there, during this altercation, he put it back. It wasn't even out that long.
Well, so what I'm asking you is, play the image where he pulled it out. I'm almost, Your Honor, I can break in a 2 minutes, so it's 4 needs. So the gun is out.
Yes.
My question is not what did he do when he put it back? He pulled the gun out and he goes off screen towards Relly. What did he do with the gun when he went off screen?
Can you show me that again and rephrase that? Because
Yes.
I didn't see him going up the screen going towards Rebel.
Watch. There he is, off the screen. He had the gun. So my question, do you know what he is doing with the gun at this point when we can't see him off screen?
Well, the gun is still down. He's still trying to put it back into his waistline.
Wait, so you're saying this video we've just seen shows him putting the gun back?
Look, can we rewatch the video?
Sure. I'm not talking about when he comes back. I'm saying at this point in time, you agree. What's that?
I didn't,
Witness says rewatch the video. We just did.
You just watch it.
No, you just pause it. I'm trying to watch the whole video.
No, I'm not showing the whole video. I'm showing the part I want to show.
Nah, so can you show it in context? It shows when he puts the
No,
proper way.
no, Ms. Phillips, I'm gonna show you what I want to show.
so
So
go ahead, show Mr. Phillips what you want.
I just showed you that image. My question is, you would agree that the defendant takes a gun out, the gun is out, they go off screen with the gun still out. So what I'm asking you is, do you know what the defendant did with the gun when they went off screen?
Yes, he was still trying to put it back in his waistline. The gun was down, so I believe he was trying to put it in his front belt, but he couldn't. So that's when he turned around, he readjusted, put it to like the top.
Wait, so your testimony is that he pulled the gun out, and then immediately after pulling the gun out, tried to put it back.
He didn't pull the gun out. So, like I said, from him getting pulled by Relly, his clothes weren't secure. So his clothes weren't secure, the prop clip wasn't secure. You feel me? So he didn't pull it out. He's a dominant right hand. He would have pulled it out with his right hand, I'm guessing. Here, he's using his left hand to adjust it the whole time.
So you saw the gun out, correct? You saw the gun out of the clip, correct?
I
Gun
see.
gets removed.
I seen it, only seen it when he was trying to adjust it back into his clothes.
Last one to show you. I want you to see when the gun first comes out, when we see it on the screen. Gun is already out the first time we see it. So you're watching. Gun is stopped. The gun is out right now. Do you agree?
Yes,
It's in the defendant's hand. Do you agree?
yes.
You're not telling us that the gun fell out of the clip and just happened to go in his hand, right?
The gun would have fell on the floor. It's inside his pants. and it's a clip, so I feel as though he grabbed it while it was falling. He just grabbed it with his hand, just to secure it. He's not pulling it out, he's not pointing it. He's actually trying to secure it and keep it down.
So your testimony is,
Finish the thought.
your testimony is that his pants were falling down, and so he reached back to get his pants up and grabbed the gun accidentally to prevent his pants from coming down, and that's why the gun is out. That's your testimony?
Can you rephrase that?
So your testimony is that the reason the gun came out was because his pants were falling down, and so he reached back to try and make sure his pants didn't come down, and unintentionally grabbed the gun.
Yes.
We can resume on Monday, Your Honor.
All right, folks, please be outside the courtroom doors. Maybe why we can't get started at 10? All right, 10 o'clock, everybody? I know, 10 o'clock? All right, okay, all right, we'll resume at 10 o'clock on Monday. Please don't discuss the case, work yourself, don't look at any electronic media, print media, or any kind of media. Keep it in open mind. See you Monday. Not a
You have something or did you have something?
I do.
You have something.
And then I'm gonna ask all of you.
Okay.
I always do when we.
Oh, great.
All right, we're outside the presence of the jury. Mr. Lewin, you've been questioning the witness for 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Your Honor, they have.
2 minutes. You have 90 minutes. You have 90 more minutes. I'm controlling the progress of the case. That means over 4 hours with this witness.
Your Honor,
You have 90 minutes remaining.
Your Honor, I've got an ethical duty to actually effectively prosecute this
Okay,
case.
you're gonna have to do it in 90 minutes.
Your Honor, of course, you can do what it's going to do, but at least allow me to be heard. I
Go
mean,
ahead, say what you want to say.
They had the witness, the victim, on the stand for 3 days. They asked him question after question about his income, about more irrelevancies than I can add up. I'm going through video where the witness is impeaching himself left and right on the central issues in this case. And the court is saying, you gotta hurry up. Your Honor, we have to be able to do our job. I'm not wasting time. I am asking questions that are getting important information. And when the court didn't limit them at all. This witness is as important as the victim indication.
The reason Relly took so long is because he was so uncooperative and he would not answer a question. This witness is answering questions. Over 4 hours is enough. You have 90 minutes remaining. Just use your time wisely. That's it, 90 minutes. That's an hour and a half more. I'm sure you can get it done in that. Oh, anything?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor. Any, Mr. Self, anything?
No.
Mr. Lewin, anything more?
No.
All right, see you at 10 o'clock on Monday.
You won't use that what, your clock, though, right?
I can't, what?
You won't use that what, your clock.
Yeah, can we get the time?